So, hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the Entry Madness channel. Today I'm here with my Specialized Views 2021 and today I'm going to be giving you a 6-month review / update on the bike. Now quite a few things have changed since the initial purchase, so I thought I'd run through those, take it out. It's very flat around here, but I thought I'd take it out around Spec C because there's definitely been some opinions and things that have changed on the bike and things that I didn't think I'd have to change or I'd want to. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so we're going to start by running through the things that I've changed on the bike. Now this process starts at the front where I've changed the original fork, the RockShox Judy Silver TK. I'll pop a little video there now. I've changed that to this, the X Fusion Sweep RL2. Now it's got an upgraded 140mm of travel, but the key thing here is that it's got 34mm stanchions. Now the bike comes with a fork with 32mm stanchions, and now for those of you who don't really know much about kind of forks and biking and stuff, that basically just means the fork is skinnier here, so you have more. It feels much softer. Now that may seem like a good thing, but when you're bombing down a trail, you do travel through the travel very quickly, and you get up into this top 10%, you know, in the first little bump, and then you don't have enough travel for that next section. So that's the first thing I've changed. I really like this fork though. It's really nice, great for dirt jumping, so I do quite a lot of that on here. And the next things I've changed the front chainring. Now this has gone up to a 32 tooth, and what I'd recommend is definitely stick with the 30. Now the reason I went up to a 32 is simply because the 32 was just not in stock anymore, so I had to get a 32 tooth. It completely has changed the climbing capabilities of this bike. It still climbs relatively well, but you know, I've just been noticing the difference and it's absolutely crazy. Come back to the rear, I've changed the chain and I've also changed the cassette. Now that's simple wear and tear, obviously that's why I changed the front chainring, and that is simple wear and tear. I was surprised that I had to change it quite quickly. Now I was riding it throughout the winter, hard drive. I've cleaned it after every ride, but that cleaning after every ride, that has ruined the free hub body. And also the bottom bracket. So I've changed the bottom bracket because it's not a sealed bottom bracket, so there's space for dirt and grime and things to get in, so do be wary of that. But the free hub body I also had to replace, so that's very irritating. And let's now move on to my opinions, and then we'll take it out for a bit of a spin. The weather is looking rather precarious. Let's go. Okay, now my opinions on the bike. I still think it's a great bike, but I just think it's for a different type of riding. Now, if you're getting into mountain biking, I think this would be a perfect first choice. It is a little on the pricey side for the specs, but now the key question here is, would I buy this bike again, or would I recommend it to a friend? And my simple answer to that question is going to be no. Now that's simply because these parts, bottom bracket, free hub body, they are just not up to the standards of a 1K plus bike. Now for this sort of price point, I'd recommend looking at one of the Vituses if you're in the United Kingdom, or I'd look at, there's many other options out there. Do a bit of research. I can always put a video out there, top 5 hardtails for this sort of money, but this just does not have the specs for the price point. It simply is not, it's not good enough. So that's actually quite disappointing. So I was really looking forward to getting this bike. But you know, it simply does not perform well enough that I'd like. But we're going to talk about the positives. So if you do have this bike, then the dirt jumping capabilities are really good. It feels quite nice and flowy and smooth. It has got quite a smooth powertrain, like kind of give it some gas and it does pull through. It's actually probably coming down now. So there definitely is some positives to this bike, but I definitely think the negatives outweigh them. And if you're looking at this bike, I would definitely change that situation and look at a different bike for the same money. I'll put a couple of links to the bikes down in the description for you guys. But let's take it out on these trails, just so I can kind of show you what it's like when I'm riding. And then, so all of those reasons are why I would not purchase this bike again, or I would, you know, not recommend it to a friend. So we'll take it on a little XC trail, and then I'm going to take it in Pease Lake Trails, which should be a pretty rad session, although this rain is coming down quite hard, so it should be pretty fun in Pease Lake. But I will see you guys when we get there to see what the trail capabilities are. Okay guys, so we're now out here in Pease Lake. It's a chilly summer's evening, surprised by the temperature. But the bike, now when climbing, I'm really impressed with it actually. On this sort of flattish ground, as it's a hardtail, really efficient, smooth power. You obviously don't lose any power to that bob of the rear wheel. It's great. I can just happily cruise here, not out of breath, just talking, enjoying the scenery, getting ready for the first trail. It's really nice and easy and simple, but it's where we come to the top and we drop into the first trail, that is where the problems start to be had. So I'll catch you guys up when I'm heading down there. Okay, so here we are on the Fuse. We've reached the top. We're going to drop into the first, we're going to drop into the trail now, Supernova tracking trail. Very muddy and quite very sticky and muddy, so we'll see how it performs. Now let's shift up. Let's get going. Right, so bike here, feeling all right. You'll be able to hear the rattling from that free hub body. Now I can usually clear that little jump on my e-bike, but obviously on the hardtail I'm not clearing any of these. I'm more just focused about staying planted, staying on the bike. That could come down to conditions actually. Now the bike over here, it doesn't feel too bad. The grip is quite good. Now I can kind of go down there at moderate speed. Okay, now it's okay down here. That's all alright. It is just bumpy and that rear is rattly. Now you obviously have so much more confidence on a full sus, and I just don't really have that confidence on the hardtail. So when to push it down harder down into the trails, I just don't have that sort of confidence like that on the e-bike. Was just an absolute, you know, breeze. But on this, I'm sadly just not feeling that. So we're now going to head back up to the top, hit another trail, and then I'm going to make a verdict on whether you guys should buy this bike. Hardtail life! Woohoo! Now the final verdict, after pushing it quite hard in that last couple of hours in Pease Lake, I'd have to say I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. The sum of the parts just sadly aren't up to the standard which you'd expect from a plus 1k bike, so that is the reason why I'm going to give it that rating. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.